Hey, how's it going? Have another build video for you today. A little quick update. I am back at home. I'm back on my PC, so I hope the video quality is a little better than last time. Last time I was visiting home and back in Florida, and it was on a little laptop, so the quality wasn't the greatest. But I did get a new mic, so I hope the audio is a lot better. So let's just go ahead and jump right into the build. So for this build, I decided to go with the Barrow Dyad submachine gun, which is brand new. It came out with Heresy, and I've been using it ever since it came out, and it's a lot of fun. It's really a really good submachine gun, and as you can see, I'm using high impact reserves, which isn't really by choice. I haven't really gotten the other intrinsics yet, so I still need to get those, which I would prefer to use one for all if I had it. If you have it, you should probably use that instead. For right now, I'm going to use high impact reserves because I think it's better than thread links for right now, which is the other part which I have. So I guess to kick off this build, I'll start with the exotic of choice, which is the Hunter Cloak exotic. And for the exotic perks that I chose Foe Tracer and Syntheseps. And what Foe Tracer does is that when you damage a powerful combatant or guardian with an ability, grants you a temporary damage bonus for weapons matching that ability's element. And then Spirit of Syntheseps improves melee damage when you're surrounded. And I'll kind of go into Syntheseps a little more later on when I get into the subclass. But for right now, Foe Tracer is probably easily the biggest part of this build. And I know the Hunter Cloak, if you don't have this specific role on yours, you don't really need to use it. I just like I said, I'll kind of break down the Syntheseps choice a little later. Foe Tracer is the most important part. So if you don't have this, you can easily just use the exotic Foe Tracer. It does the same exact thing. But like I said, I like to have Syntheseps with it, and I'll explain that a little later. So next I'll jump into the subclass of choice. I went with Prismatic. So I'll just start with abilities. I went with Gambler's Dodge, of course, to give me my melee back. And the melee of choice, I went with Threaded Spike because it is a strand ability. And if you remember Foe Tracer, you have to hit a powerful combatant with a strand ability to get that damage bonus. And as you know, Barrow Dyad is a strand submachine gun, so that means you have to hit a powerful combatant with a strand ability, and that's why we're using Threaded Spike. And I went with Swarm Grenade just for a little bit of extra light transcendence energy. So for the aspects, I went with Stylus Executioner, which says defeating a target affected by any elemental debuff grants invisibility and true sight. And then I also went with Gunpowder Gamble. Defeat targets with abilities, elemental debuff damage, or solar weapons to charge up an improvised solar explosion. So the reason I went with Gunpowder Gamble is just to help with the light transcendence energy. I think that's one of the cons of this build, even though there's a lot of light abilities. I feel like getting the light transcendence energy is a little more difficult, but I'm just going to go ahead and jump into the fragments because there are some fragments that will help you with that light transcendence energy. So let's just jump right into the fragments. So for the first fragment, I went with Facet of Bravery, which says defeating targets with grenade final blows grants volatile rounds to your void weapons, which one of the weapons I'm using is a void sidearm, so that will give it volatile rounds. And then defeating targets with powered melee final blows grants unraveling rounds to your strand weapons. So the reason why I wanted Syntheseps is because it'll become a little easier to get that powered melee final blow to give Barrow Dyad the unraveling rounds. And then moving on to the next fragment, we have Facet of Devotion. Defeat targets afflicted with stasis or strand debuffs grants bonus light transcendence energy. So because your Barrow Dyad has unraveling rounds, it's unraveling targets. Therefore, they're strand debuffed. Therefore, it'll give you more light transcendence energy. So for the last fragment, I went with Facet of Dawn. Powered melee hits against targets makes you radiant. And then final blows makes you a nearby allies radiant. So again, with the final blows, everybody will become radiant. It's super helpful. And of course, when you just get a hit, it'll make you radiant. So these fragments are basically the whole reason I wanted Syntheseps. 3 of them benefit massively from getting melee final blows. So it just, with Syntheseps, it makes it a little easier, but if you don't have that specific role, you can just use Foe Tracer. That's the most important part. But I just like having the Syntheseps role just to help with those melee final blows. So real quick, I'll go over the armor mods. So for the helmet, I have Powerful Friends, Hands-On, Strain Siphon. For the gauntlets, I have Heavy-Handed, Impact Induction, Focusing Strike. Chest armor is really whatever the activity requires. It's very, very activity dependent. So leg armor, I went with Recuperation, Strain Weapon Surge, because you're not always going to have Foe Tracer active, so it'll help to have that Weapon Surge active. And then of course Time Dilation, Powerful Attraction, and Bomber. So now I'll go over the artifact perks. There's a lot of really good artifact perks for strain weapons this season. So we're going to jump into it. So for the first one, we have Unraveling Orbs, of course. Picking up an Orb of Power grants your strain weapons Unraveling Rounds, which is another helpful way to give it Unraveling Rounds if you're not able to get that melee kill. The next one is Horde Shuttle. Damaging unravel targets with a weapon occasionally spawns a Threadling, which of course works really well with this one. And then finally we have to Shreds. Dealing sustained damage to severed targets unravels them, and then defeating a severed target creates a hotspot of strain energy, granting Woven Mail, which is basically extra damage resistance. So all of these are really working together, and just for an extra one, I went with Limit Break, just to give some more damage on my Golden Gun Super, but really any of these are all really good. So lastly, I'll go over the weapons of choice. I have Lotus Eater with Reconstruction Destabilizing Rounds, and a Scintillation with Rewind Rounds and Bait and Switch, just for some extra damage. So that's pretty much it for the build. The whole loop is basically just to throw your Threaded Spike at a powerful combatant, which is the Yellow Health Bard adds, which will give you that ×4 weapon damage bonus. And that's pretty much it. And of course, when the Threaded Spike is jumping between enemies, it's going to be giving you Unraveling Rounds, and it's going to be giving you Radiant, and of course it's going to be giving you health regeneration back because of those fragments, which will give you more survivability and of course damage. So that's pretty much it for the build. The loop for the build is very simple. All you want to do is just throw your Threaded Spike at a powerful combatant, which are the Yellow Health Bard enemies, and when you do that, it'll give you that ×4 weapon damage bonus. And what's also, of course, really nice is that when your Threaded Spike will get a kill, because it bounces between targets, so it's possible it'll get a kill, it'll give you all of the fragment benefits, which will give you more damage and, of course, more survivability. So now we'll go ahead and jump into some gameplay to showcase the build. Okay, now we're in. Alright, so now you gotta stay on the plates, get the portal open. Stand on your plate. Stand on your plate. Okay. So kind of like I said earlier, if you look at the Transcendence bar, it's pretty much fully filled with the darkness part and no light energy. So like I said, it's kind of one of the hardest parts about it, just getting that light Transcendence energy up. So this is the kind of health bar you're looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and hit him with it, and you'll see on the left side when it wants to show up, because there's 1,000 things on my screen. So if you look on the left side, because I hit that yellow health target, I now have that ×4 weapon damage bonus, which is pretty much the whole point. So let's go ahead and finish up shooting all these blights. Let's kill this rim right here. Okay, gonna proc Radiant, use my super. Very nice. Okay, I'm gonna dodge. Oh, wasn't close enough, but just gonna use my heavy anyways. Throw this, get some more of that light Transcendence energy. Okay, so I'm gonna pop this. I'm gonna get my Threaded. Okay, so now that I have my Threaded Spike back, toss this. Now I have that ×4 weapon damage bonus. Of course, you can see on the left side because there's 1,000 things on this freaking screen, but we get over that. So there's a lot of really good things about this build. Damage, survivability, it's all pretty much there. I would say this build is like perfect at nothing, pretty decent at everything. So here's a wizard. I'm gonna hit it with my ability. And now, as you can see, I got the strain ×4 weapon bonus on the left side. Pop my Goldie. Throw this. I'm gonna pop Transcendence. Just start spamming all my abilities at that point, because that's what Transcendence is good for. You know, one activity I absolutely despise in this game is Gambit. I know I'm not the minority when I say that, and I know it's really random to point that out, but Gambit sucks. You'll never see me play that ever. I know there's like a Destiny. I can't remember what it is, but there's like a website that'll show your hours or like the activities that you played in the game. And one thing I'm super proud of is that I had 0 time in Gambit for the year. Very proud of that. Yeah, what's really nice is that the Gunpowder Gamble counts as an ignition, so it'll actually stun on stops, which is super helpful and nice. Oh, I guess I was wrong. That was an orange bar health enemy, and it actually gave me the times for weapon damage bonus, so who knew? Pop my goalie, do some more damage. Very nice. Goldie. Miss everything, pretty much. Oh. Get a kill. See, look. So I went invisible, and my health started regenerating. So that's kind of the reason why I wanted to use that fragment. Just for really good survivability. Oh my goodness. Well, I finally died. But it took about pretty much the whole activity to do that, so is what it is. And that's pretty much the build. I'm going to go ahead and show the kills that I got and the damage, of course. So, of course, the damage wasn't perfect. I wasn't fully focusing on damage for this one, but I know the damage output can be better. Like I said, if I was focusing on damage a little more, I think it easily could have bumped those numbers up. And it's not even Strand Surge this week, which when Strand Surge is active, you get that 25% strand damage bonus. But my kills were really good. I mean, it's, like I said, it's perfect at nothing, but decent at everything. And so one of the best things about it is the survivability is really good with Silas Executioner, and of course with Faceted Blessing giving you that regeneration, and they work really well together. And of course, Foe Tracer just giving you that passive damage bonus. And as you could see in the video, like I was just pretty much always spamming my melee. I always had it, so I always had that damage bonus. So thanks for watching. I hope the video was a lot better in terms of quality. I just got this mic. I hope the audio is a little better. And of course, I'm on my PC back at home, so I hope the video quality is also a little better. But that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.